Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the R-Line. Obviously, as you can see, we've still got panel bits to sort, but these new panels that came, fantastic colour match. Really couldn't have asked for much better. I think it's a fairly easy colour in the colour match department. It's grey, and the guys that did it did a really good job. But today it's a little bit chilly outside. So I'm going to move inside because we do have an issue. So the clutch isn't working as a clutch. I suspect the cat or big piece of exhaust on the back of that engine has smashed into the little hydraulic cylinder that lives on the back of that clutch. Because the clutch is hydraulically operated using the same fluid as your brake fluid. So in order to best access that, and get the dash out, so it's also I can shut the door and it's a little bit warmer. Yeah, so I'm going to do that because then that means I can get the clutch working. When I know the clutch is definitely working, that means I'm going to retake off the intake manifold that lives under here. So we've got a new brake servo vacuum hose. It runs all the way up there. So you can replace that. And now what I didn't spot on the part listings, I bought a used part, was that there's supposed to be a little nub for the vacuum, so that the vacuum system pulls vacuum off the intake. Now, that's broken on that, it's broken on the other part, and so I didn't look specifically for that piece, but I did wonder where that went. Now I know. Luckily, we've still got the original part that has the nub in it, that snapped off from the old one. So what I'm going to do is look at getting a soldering iron out and a load of spare plastic and re-welding that back onto this intake manifold. So yeah, let me just talk it into a rainy grey panel. But yeah, so we'll have to start in here. Yeah, start taking the dashboard out. Now, on previous projects like the blue Skoda you can just see there, I've done a how-to on getting this out. I'm not gonna on this occasion. I'm just gonna jump back and forth, film bits here and there, but really I want to start really cracking on with this because deadline day is approaching for when I've got some time where I could take it for an MOT. Still waiting on a V5, so that may not materialise, but for me, I'll get this cracked on. As soon as the dashboard's out, this clutch's pedal's done with good access, then yeah, I can button that up. We do still have front seat belts to do. They're arriving today. So we've got rear seat belts to do, and whilst it's not raining, crack on with that. And also we've got the brakes to do. And we're about there, to be honest. But yeah, clutch is a big one, because realistically the brakes that are on it should be more than sufficient as it stands. It's just I would like to put new brakes in it for my peace of mind. And it crashed on these brakes, so can't be that good. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. And yeah, I'll come back with any updates when I've got into it a little bit. Well guys, I said I wasn't going to do a guide, but I suppose it could end up being a kind of a guide. So this is the new unblown airbag. And you've got these prongs here. Obviously there'll be something that hooks up, comes over and hooks on. Now what you need to do, try and show you this one-handed, but this piece goes in. So I have to try and hook onto this and pull it down, and that should release it. Same for both sides. Then coming over to the dashboard itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that should be all the clips necessary to get the fascia trim off the dashboard. And there we have it guys, that is the steering wheel airbag removed now from its holder. I'll be honest, I used an endoscope and used one of these Draper small picks, and it was able to see this is the securing tab that holds the airbag onto the car. All I had to do was get the, see where my finger is there, get the little pick in there and to press on the spring, It sits right up at the top. You might be able to feel for it. I just find it much easier with the endoscope. You can like take the clocks out, for example, and get more access that away. But yeah, endoscope, pick tool, I think you're golden. So I don't know what wiring I've got with the new airbag. I think I've got this. I'm not too sure. So I'm just going to disconnect all the plugs off of this side of the airbag and go from there. So that is airbag out and wiring undone from the clock spring. I have made sure that this is now centered, as this is all going to have to come off to get the dashboard out, and we want it to go back on and the steering wheel be straight. So yeah, that bolt in there, as you can see, we've got a triple square bit on that. So this is an M12. M12 triple square. I know this is an impact bit, but yeah, my half-inch ratchet's gone walkies. It's probably in the back of the other car, but hey ho. So we're going to get this off. We can get the steering wheel out. That means we can then get the clock spring and the indicators. Normally I separate them, but I'll see if I can leave them intact, which enables me to get the covers off from around the steering column, which is important. And then that gives us more room to then disassemble the rest of this. I'm not too sure. Maybe this center console is going to have to come out. I really hope not. It didn't have to on the Skoda that I did, the Fabia. That was nice and simple. But it's Volkswagen, so who knows, because that goes right up there. That might overlap with that, who knows. This trim piece will probably have to come off at the bare minimum, so yeah, we'll see. But let's crack on. So guys, as you can see, that is the steering wheel off. Obviously our clock spring's here. You can see where that's going to plug in there. So we have got a plug here that's connected to the clock spring. We'll want to remove that. So we'll need these column switches out the way. So this top piece, this lifted up, so that normally sits way down there. That just lifts up quite easily. And then you've got two T20s there. Also on the bottom panel, there's just under there, and normally sits on there, there's another additional T20 nestled under there. Right, so that's out the way. So I'm gonna get these switches out the way. Then we're going to start getting the main dashboard out of the way. So if you got to the same point as me and you're wondering how on earth does this come off of there, different to the Fabia that I did, it doesn't just pull. There is this little T15 just down here that goes to there. When that's removed, the entire thing will come out. I did take the clock spring off. It's just 3 T20s. To figure that one out and see what was going on back there. But yeah, that's those out. So if you're doing a retrofit and you want to upgrade from the limiter, I guess you'd need a different set of these and all that good stuff. So yeah, now I can start with the dash. So luckily guys, I was absolutely right in what I was thinking. The dashboard's exactly the same, but the plug there is for the little LEDs for the ambient light. So get that unplugged, but I have to remember that needs to go through that little hole. So guys, a really important part to note about this piece, this light up panel, is that it plugs in here. So get the glove box out, get the radio disconnected, and then yeah, there's a little plug there, that unclips from there, and then there's another one up there. So yeah, I'm gonna do that one now, but that is glove box out. So in terms of this panel, we've got one light connection here coming from under the cluster, and we've got one that lives here just on this corner of the dashboard. That's brown and grey. That too is brown and grey. I do wonder if there's going to be another on this side of the car. So now we get this side trim out, and then we'll start looking again the radio screen itself, get that out, getting the hazard switch out, that kind of thing. Again, the clock's out. I've already removed the switches are easy on these, and then it's more of this stuff, which is fun. So this one does feel very wrong when you're doing it, but the entire piece here comes off. Got little bits of broken plastic. There is another plug. You won't be able to see it now because it'll have dropped, but there's that one there. Obviously that wants to plug into this one here, and that again is for this, which controls the lights, as you can see, like a fibre optic style thing. So presume there's just an LED in there. You might be able to change the colour in that, to be fair. And then, yeah. Along, and then obviously you've got your top cowl there bolted on, including your fan. And look who we didn't, vent, and look who we didn't damage that. So that's all good. That's ready for now the clocks to come out. Start to look at the passenger airbag switch, the hazard switch, and the radio. That is our hazard switch airbag light thing removed. Throw that in the back. Then we've got these two plugs here that come through this gap. And that is screen out. As you can see, absolutely filthy. We definitely get that cleaned up nice before we go back in. I do that so it looks nice. Yeah, so to get that out, you're going to want a I don't know where it's gone now, but a radio removal key. One in there, one in there, one goes in there, one goes in there, these top bits. Now, yeah, it's just this mechanism you've got to deal with there. It's not particularly difficult. You can use one of these, or I did use a proper radio key, but you can go one at a time in each corner. That's not a problem. And then in this bit coming from the center, we have a black plug and we have the blue plug. So yeah, clock's out. We'll see what plugs are behind there, and then we'll look at, we're gonna have to remove these center vents. We'll have to look at removing this panel, as well as I do believe the dash does come down into this bit. And there we have it. We've got a set of clocks removed. So that was just two T20 screws, as you can see, one there, and then it's got this weird clippy thing there. One plug to release, press that in, that bridge will be all the way up as it moves when it locks in, so it'll be more like that. Press that in, let this lever come over, it will self-eject itself from this rear port here. I have to admit, these don't look very nice as a set of clocks, as in like as a construction piece. The car, the dash looks nice when it's all together, but I suppose gone on the day of pretty parts. And then yeah, the system of having that clipped on there, and I hate that. That is terrible, for me personally anyway. But we're starting to uncover some more of the screws that are hidden in there, so just need to pay attention where these wires go, where they come from. So for example, this one, that's all lights, that's come all the way around here. I do believe that wants to fall down in there. We don't really want that happening. So yeah, we have to move on and crack on with a bit more now. So guys, that is dashboard removed. Quite honestly, it's a lot simpler than I was expecting with this car. Obviously that's going to run to the radio, that's running through to the hazard, that's running to the screen, these cables, try not to touch them very much. What our heater dial connects to, USB, more heater stuff, there, clocks, there, LED, that one, and light switches there. That's for the floor LED, the footwell, the other footwell one just out there. yeah, footwell LED, airbag off switch, passenger airbag connector. Yeah, it's actually really simple. So main thing now is need to go throw the bolts I've rescued out of the broken dashboard there into the new dashboard, hold the new airbag in. When that's in, I can bring the dashboard out here, start the process of reassembly. But before I do that, I'll throw that airbag on, but then I'll start having a look at this clutch pedal and seeing what that may require now that I've got a lot more room for activities in this area without smashing my head. So once again, you join me inside the house, and we now have our new passenger airbag mounted. As you can see, it's still got the old plug on it, but it's 4T30 Torx. Again, with any of this, when I touch any airbags, seat belts, anything like that, I'm not giving you any torque specs. I followed the torque specs, but that's for you to go and find, unfortunately. Things may change, I might have got it wrong or made a mistake, and that's just not something I want to be liable for. So if you do want torque specs, go to your local VW dealer, talk to a technician, or download the Irwin manuals online. But yeah, let's get this back in the car. So, pro tip, don't sit down while you've got one of these in your pocket. It might not be very comfortable. But whilst we've got the dashboard and that out, I've had a look at this clutch pedal. So before it was going down and not returning, obviously now that feels like a clutch should feel. It's probably going to want to bleed, but it is springing back like there's something happening. I mean, if I go for first, just try it, put the clutch in, it feels like it wants to go a bit easier, I guess. And again, whilst it's off, it just wants to go into any gear anyway. But yeah, we have the clutch pedal. I can hear it working. The main thing is now, so what I've done externally is, so yeah, I can see I've still got a problem. So I cleaned it up, put a bit more fluid in, and put some fresh kitchen roll surrounding the joint there, and it's looking like I still have a brake fluid leak. Now in this area of the engine, that would be particularly dangerous. It's quite hot, and brake fluid, although relatively harmless, I really want to see if it'll catch fire. So the line did pop out and it did go back in, but I am wondering now if the actual housing itself, as you can see there, is damaged. So yeah, I'm going to remove that kitchen roll, confirm if it is still leaking, and then look at swapping it out, I guess. So guys, in terms of, this is the clutch pedal, I've removed the cover for it. But looking, it's a different design to the one that arrived, so I have just ordered a new one. I believe, well, I know the other one's got a physical sensor on the top, whereas this one uses a Hall effect sensor. So even if I swapped out the hydraulic system here, which I won't be able to do because it's a different style of mounting, would be no bueno. Whilst it did eventually regain some kind of pressure when it's fully clipped in, yeah, I was right in suspecting that that has been hit. That is no longer not any good, and that's going to be in need of replacement. So yeah, I don't think there's any way to separate that from this and swap it with the one I've got. I will just quickly have a look, but I think that's it for trying the clutch today. It's one of them. I do think I should be able to get the dashboard back in, however, and still get this in at a later date, even though it might be a bit of a struggle. So we have some good news here. We are losing daylight, which is a bit of a shame. We've still got the center console out, that kind of thing, but our heater dials are back in, cables are back plugged, All of the ambient lighting is now plugged back in. The passenger airbag is now connected. The clocks are back in. Kind of thing. Driver's airbag is back in. Steering wheel's back on and is tight. All of these are back on and plugged in, including the plastic there. I'm going to leave the lower dash off for now. Purely because I've still got the clutch pedal. I did order that with a 24-hour courier, so fingers crossed that gets shipped out. £24 for a clutch pedal. Rather reasonable. I did try topping it up with washer fluid, and that just all instantaneously evacuated from that tank. So I think on that one, it's going to be a case of pulling that tank off and having a look. Is it repairable? Because if it's not, it's about 70 quid on eBay for a replacement, which is no bueno. What I can crack on with is getting the glove box back in the centre console back in with the armrest and all that jazz. Yeah, get it looking more like a Polo again. Do still have the one A-pillar to go on. This one's back on, all plugged in. So, yeah, that's airbag kit done on the 2020 Polo R-Line, which obviously I've then got to very gingerly turn on and go into the airbag module with VCDS and sort that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Well guys, that's it for me really today. Daylight has now evaded me. But yeah, just coming into the car. Obviously, it just looks so good. We've got the, we've not got a blown airbag up there. We've got the proper airbag here. It just looks, it feels nice. We've got the centre console back in. Yeah. So I guess, well, the clutch pedal will be here in a few days. I have time for it to be dispatched and then couriered. Everything's back in, like the radio system, screen's back on. Made sure to clean that bottom edge where things like to accumulate. But yeah, all of our vents have gone back in just fine. All that stuff. Armrest back in. Still works as it should. Yeah. The little metal clip. I lost that last time I did one of these, but that's back in there. And yeah, just generally it's a nice place to be. It's a nice motor. Definitely, it looks so much better now. It's yeah, now it's actually got the steering wheel back on how it should be. Obviously that's all nice and clipped in. Battery's not on, otherwise the horn would be going. But yeah, in terms of MOT wise now, I'm concerned I'm going to have to sort the washer bottle situation, but I can look at that whilst I'm doing the brakes on that side. Clutch pedal, I can still, you might be able to see there, still got access to that top bolt through there, so not too concerned. You just got three bolts there. The entire unit goes through. The firewall comes out on the other side. You've got the feed down to it, and then you've got the clutch slave line going up into it with a little clip. Just make sure I've saved that clip somewhere. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. All these are plugged back in. Like I say, it's got the two USBs there. It's also got the USBs back there. Do apologise for the abrupt movement because we don't have super steady on because we've got flash on. I do film this all by phone. Things like this, these end plates I'm not putting back on yet because I'm not putting the lower dash in yet. I'm not going to put that in until the clutch is back in. Yeah, did save, for example, save the clutch pedal. So that's specific to the R-Line. Well, not these higher trim ones, rather than the bog standard ones. The pedal I did get, it used a position sensor rather than a Hall effect sensor. So that's no good. So I've ordered the proper pedal that has doesn't have a spring on it. It just has the Hall effect sensor and that on the back, so I'll have a spare Hall effect sensor, which may take off and sell. It's one of those, we've got plenty of spare bits that have either come with dashboards or not, that, you know, you do lose. So yeah, may be able to recoup some money that way. Yeah, just going to wait now for the clutch pedal, but whilst it's now dark and whatnot, I might crack on a little bit and start connecting up some coolant hoses to finally get the coolant system up and running. And once that's up and running, I can then idle it for a lot longer and that kind of thing. Still got the, I don't know what happened there, but we've still got the seat belts to sort, both front and rear. I have to do something about that plastic as well, because that is, well, it's not very good. It proper cracked in at the top, and we've still got a boot full of broken bits, but pretty much everything there's now been replaced. And yeah, there's not really too much to say on this one, so that's it for this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. So guys, sometimes you've got to go forwards to go back, and we had to go back and re-add this. So this is the adapter onto the intake for the vacuum system. So that goes on there. This obviously broke. I've used part of that in the repair here. You can see I've got like heat shrink on that. So that's all super glued in, heat shrunk with super glue around it on the inside, then heat shrunk over, and super glue and a bit of hot glue just to make sure that's there. I know this will be in a hot engine bay, so I'm not expecting the hot glue to really do much, other than I just wanted to make sure it had the best seal as it would going on. This plastic should stay fairly cool because of this like charge cooler assembly on it. Obviously that being in very close proximity. So yeah, so that's back on, and now the actual connector there, that goes on, and that was pretty much one of the final missing pieces. But I've got a whole brake vacuum assembly, the fresh one to go on, because this had a broken connector, and yeah, so I need to get this back on the car. So guys, you see the very dirty boot here, but sun is beginning to set on this one, but we did go backwards. We took this whole entire intake manifold off again. Obviously verified it runs. It was nice to have a look back down in the intakes. They seem to be clearing themselves out lovely. Do notice we have a snapped connector that comes onto this, which I presume is the high pressure fuel pump, just before the injectors. Don't think that's too detrimental. I will look at replacing it, of course, but we do still have down there, just at the end of my finger, a pressure sensor for the rail. So don't think I'm going to throw any or many codes for the engine now. Our aircon lines are back in. I definitely not see them, but they're back in now. We're still waiting on the clutch pedal. Like I said, I did order one, but one for a 6R, so the previous generation Polo showed up. Not my fault. I'm guessing it was just an error with the second-hand parts company that one came from, which is a bit of a shame. I've ordered one to now come in time for a different person, for a different seller, but I'm still going to have to have an argument with them trying to get them to take the wrong one back, but I needed it. So yeah, fun. We've now got all of our coolant pipes all plumbed in, our new flange on up top, and everything is now together. Like this hose, it's one of them where it's not necessarily the correct hose, but it fits, so we're going to run with it. The intake piping is now clipped in. What a pain that is if you are doing it. Clip this top piece in first, then get your top charge pipe on afterwards. Complete nightmare. So yeah, essentially we're waiting on, I'm going to put the coolant in at a minute. We've got clutch pedal we're waiting on. We'll look at that, the high pressure fuel pump, but I think that's going to be alright for now. Need to do a repair on that, so it thinks the bonnet's closed. Need to finally get these panels properly lined up, and then that means I can get the windscreen wipers back on and the scuttle panel back on. But now that's done, and we can bolt this up, this panel down here, I can bolt that up properly. But yeah, all I need to do is make sure I don't lose this. So that's just going to go there, because that is the cable that holds the clutch slave line into the back of the clutch pedal there. Yeah, but we've got enough oil, I'm happy with that. So yeah, stop talking about it, get some coolant in it. So guys, unfortunately on this one we've been thwarted a little bit. So as with everything, we do uncover issues along the way, shall we say. And the issue we've got right now is, so you see that down there, so that looks like an electric water pump. Now, if you come around this side, you'll see here, you got some nice orangey liquid there. So this T-piece there is leaking. So I don't know whether it's cracked the actual T-piece itself, but as you can see, I mean, that, yeah, you can see that's where it's leaking from. It's getting out of there. I suspect a crack in that. But the pump itself looks all right. So I can get to all the pipes. I need two that are around it to disconnect this T-piece, and that is the bottom radiator hose just down there. So I'll be waiting for that now before I can get coolant in it, just like I'll be waiting for clutch pedal. So I guess the only things now I can start to crack on with really is the airbags and stuff inside, but I won't be starting it up. I did really want to get it started up, get it running, get it up to temperature, that kind of thing, but well, that'll be better. Because now the brake vacuum system, that's all back in one piece. We've got vacuum running off the manifold now. The evap system, although it's temporary, I'm going to just order a new pipe, but yeah, that is back on. So I'll get that ordered up in a minute. But yeah, shame we can't throw the coolant in. But you know, it is what it is. But I can start to get other things buttoned back up. So I'm going to crack on with that for a little bit. But yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I'm glad I found it now, rather than pouring it in and thinking, ooh, am I losing a bit? Am I losing a knot? Luckily, I've seen it running straight down onto the under tray. So I stopped putting it in. It stopped coming out. Job done. Replace those hoses. We'll try again.